Okay, this is the beginning of Revit for the panel number 2. So let's get started with it. First thing you need to know is how to take things from Rhino into Revit. This is the interface of Revit right here as you have it. When you start the program, this is probably what you will see, something similar. I'm going to jump into Rhino, and this is your file. Make sure that it's actually on the 0, coordinate and that you don't have other elements such as the dimensions and the curves that made this project. Okay. What we're gonna do is the introduction or the first steps to develop this project in Revit, and then you will jump into another series of video tutorials that will explain more in detail how to incorporate the other projects that we have been doing in Rhino. Okay, so again, we're dealing with the Architecture and Design Center, one of the rooms here, and we're going to develop that exterior so we can later on place all the ingredients inside. Okay, so let's go to it. First thing we need to do is select our Rhino base project, file, export selected, and you should start having everything carefully placed in different folders. So I have it here under panel 2, Revit files, Rhino files. So make sure you have things clear up. Nothing will this is a default. You will see your Revit Rhino files here. So you want to export now this as a SAT. Okay, it's one of the beginning options, and you're going to call it something like a base project. Okay, I'm going to save it, say OK to the default settings, and now we can go to Revit. Okay, in Revit we're going to say a first new architectural template. Some of these things I'm going to go very fast because we should have seen them during class, so otherwise we will see them soon. Architectural template, new, and this is the interface for Revit. We're also going to do a file, new, conceptual mass. There's only one option, or we just choose the mass option here, say open, and this is another realm of Revit that we're going to be working a little bit with. Here's where we place our SAT. So what we're going to do is insert, import CAD, and we're going to go to the folders where we placed everything, panel 2, Rhino, and there's the SAT. I'm going to say open, and it should go here to the center of the conceptual mass interface. Okay, at this point we're going to save it, Control S. Probably want to start saving under Revit files, and then you want to save it as base project, like C or something, as in conceptual mass, so you have it with you in the future. Okay, now we're going to load it into the project, and again, if well, I've mentioned this before, if you have only one project open, is the one we created before, the architectural template, it will automatically bring it here. Otherwise you will have to select what file is that you want to bring it to. Notice that it wants to insert our model into the Revit interface here, so we're going to escape because we don't have any origin point to locate it at. So I'm going to escape. I'm going to go to side view here, and I'm gonna press on component, the symbol on top of the word component. That brings the latest file that we have inserted, and now we can locate the center point here. Escape because it wants to include another one, and let's go to the 3D to see what we have. Okay, this is the conceptual mass brought into the Revit architectural template. Okay. This is the point we start building walls and so on. Probably what is best is to save, Control S, our Revit file, and we can call it project A and D, for example. Okay, now we saved two files. We saved the file of the conceptual mass, and now we have to save again this file. This is the A and D. Okay, so first thing we need to start allocating is probably some walls. So let's actually create walls. Normally we'll click on the wall command here, but what we're going to do is a different type of placing of walls. We're going to click on the expand triangle here, and we're going to say wall by face. As in, when you place anything new in Revit, you have to make sure that all the properties are properly set. Okay, so you can expand on the different types of walls, and you're going to search for example, a exterior wall like this one. Okay. In general, all of the walls that you're given are like defaults or standards, so on. So we normally would go to edit type, click here, and we're going to create our own. First way to create our own is say to duplicate, and we're just going to say, instead of EIFS, we're going to say concrete. Okay, I'm going to say OK. I'm going to press on edit. Here we can actually create or change any of the layers that defines our wall. So we're going to say here finish, and we're going to change this. There's actually a little button right here to the right of this element, and we're going to search for concrete. Okay, lightweight, for example. Okay, so now that is a lightweight concrete, the exterior face. I'm going to say OK, OK. Notice that now this type is a new one, so this is the one we have created. And now we can select different faces to incorporate that wall. Now remember, this face will be like an interior partition. This is a curtain wall in reality. This is an exterior wall. Now when you click on the face, it's going to place your wall towards the interior. So you're going to select that and delete it, because we actually want to place it not towards the interior but towards the exterior. So I'm going to repeat again. The thing is wall by face, select the concrete one, and instead of clicking before, we're going to say finish face interior. Click, and now it goes towards the outside. And do the same for all the options that actually have an exterior wall. And we're gonna escape that because we're done with the exterior walls made in concrete. We're gonna create another type of wall here, which is a curtain wall. Okay, the way we're gonna do it is by clicking on massing and side before we use wall on face. Now we're gonna use curtain system. A curtain system allows us to select a face and create a system. But before we click on the face, we're gonna edit the type, duplicate, so we make it our own, a new curtain wall, and we can even say A and D to make sure. Okay, there are many settings here. We will see them as we go. For now, what we're going to just change here to none, and we will get back to these things right after. I'm going to say OK, select this face, create system. Okay, you'll see how we get to change these things later on. Okay, we're going to do another wall. We're going to go to architecture, wall. In this case is a wall, sorry, escape that. Wall by face, because everything that we're doing is by face. And we're going to select an interior. If we scroll down under the types here, there are many interior walls. We can select a 5.5 inch partition. And what we can do is change the base offset or the top offset. We'll change that in a second. We can just select the face here, and there we go. That's our interior partition. Okay, good. We're going to create another wall here coming out. So we can go to level 1, double click on level 1. We're going to select wall, select the concrete wall we defined before, and we're going to change the setting to make sure it's a face interior. If this happens to you as you create the wall by clicking once and coming down, you press spacebar and it goes towards the interior. There we go. This just simulates the rest of the building, even though it has windows. This is just good enough. I'm going to create a roof and a floor. So let's go start with the floor. In order to create a floor, you need to make sure you're actually in level 1 or in the level that you want to create the floor at. No? I'm going to click on floor. And we're going to do the same, select the one we think is best. We're going to choose generic for now. But again, as always, when we create something new, we want to edit the type and somehow duplicate and give it our own name. No? So generic, probably A&D. This will be our floor. We can click on edit. And notice if you press preview, you can see the layers that make this floor. In this case, there's only one layer, it's called structure, but we can insert another layer. It comes automatically down here. You can move it up by clicking on up button several times. You can say what is the material, what is the function of that wall. For example, this is a finish layer. And if you click again to the right of this material, you can insert any material you want. I'm just going to select, for example, cherry. If you can't see it, just search for cherry here. Okay, and select it. We can change this later on. And we obviously need a thickness. I'm going to say 1 inch. Notice how it appears there. Okay. And now the way you create floors is by clicking on the lines, and you create a polyline around. It has to be a closed polyline around the area you want to create a floor at. And again, it's being done at level 1. Let's go through the process. Coming down here, you can step out. You can just step up here and drag it down until it's orthogonal, and then come up here. Okay. Once you're done with the polyline in magenta, you say, I'm done with the polyline. You can say, okay, and you can go to 3D to see how it looks. Theoretically, this floor that we have done has 2 layers. One is the structure, another one is a cherry base finish. Notice how this wall is also like higher than the other one. We can use a command, it's a shortcut AL, or it's actually this one is align. I like to use shortcuts, but if you want, you can go also to the button, select AL. You can select the face, in this case, like the face on the top, it turns blue once, and then the second, the face on the top, that you want to drag it down to the other face. There you go. So you can actually change these things very fast in Revit. Remember to save oftentimes Control S so you don't lose information. Okay, now we're gonna do the roof. So the roof, probably is important to get to see a section of this. So if I double click on level 1, I can create a section by clicking a section. Clicking 2 times allows me to create a section symbol, which automatically creates a section here. You can double click on section, or you can double click on the front of the arrow here to go to that section. Here it shows you the section, and basically shows you also the levels of your project. Now we have a level 1, level 2, and what we want to do is take this level 2 up. So we select and move. To move is MV. You can click and click. Another way you can move is Control Z here, and you can just drag it up until it snaps to wherever you want to take it. Okay, I'm going to save that. So level 2 is all the way on the top. That's where we want to place our roof. Level 1 is the floor. Perfect. So we go to level 2, and we create a roof. We're going to click on roof. I'm going to leave it as it is for now. But we're going to actually edit the type and duplicate as always, and we're going to call it roof A and D. Again, it's good to rename and duplicate all this so you have your own type of roof. No? So you say okay, and it works very similar to the floor. You have to create actually a polyline. I went here to modify, and you have to just come out and do a close polyline around the area that you want the roof to be located at. If you missed this thing, you can always Control C and just continue by clicking again the line. So there's no problem. There's no rush to finish the polyline as soon as possible. You can you can actually stop anytime, escape, and continue the lines. There's no, again, no rush. So once you have the closed polyline, you can say okay, create a roof. Normally to this answer you say no, you don't want the walls to go up to the roof. We'll talk about it during class because it's quite important. Say no, and we're gonna go to 3D and see what we have created. Most probably if you did the roof, your roof didn't come like this. It came actually like slanted or with slopes, no? So you're gonna select that roof and you're gonna edit the sketch, and in your case you're gonna be seeing this way. You're gonna be seeing it with all of these symbols, little triangle. If each of the sketch lines, the magenta lines, has a symbol, that means that it's gonna be tilted. Let me actually say okay here. This is where you were seeing before, no? So again, you select the roof, you edit the sketch, and then what you want to do is select all of the lines and uncheck define slopes. So you basically are creating a flat roof. You say no, and we're basically quite done with the general frame. What we're gonna do in the next video is like the windows on the side, and we're gonna lower this partition down, and we're gonna create a series of mullions for the curtain wall. Okay, so that's done with this video.